All right, let's get right into this, because what we're about to break down is one of the most stunning legal reversals you'll ever see. It's a story that starts with a massive threat and ends with a catastrophic miscalculation involving former First Lady Melania Trump and journalist Michael Wolff.
I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? It is almost unheard of for a first lady to be forced to testify about the details of her personal life like this. But the truly shocking part, her own legal team is the one that led her right into this very trap.
So yeah, that is the big question, right? How on earth did a legal strategy designed to scare a critic into silence completely blow up in their faces? Let's walk through it, step by step.
So where did this all kick off? Well, it started in a way that might sound familiar if you followed Trump-related legal fights, with an overwhelming show of force meant to intimidate.
That's $1 billion, with a B. This was the amount in the demand letter that Melania Trump's lawyers sent to Michael Wolff. A number that big isn't really about money. It's designed to terrify you into submission.
The message was simple and, frankly, brutal. Retract what you wrote about Melania Trump's supposed connections to Jeffrey Epstein, or we will ruin you. It is a classic move from the Trump playbook: go big, overwhelm, and silence your opponent. Only this time, it didn't work.
See, instead of getting a scared apology, the Trump legal team got a response that I promise you nobody saw coming. Michael Wolff flipped the script and went on the attack.
And this is the moment everything changes. Instead of waiting to be sued, Wolff marched right into New York State Supreme Court and sued her first. He basically called their bluff, arguing that every single thing they called defamatory was either true, fair reporting, or constitutionally protected speech.
And Wolff's team took it a step further. They didn't just defend the reporting. They accused Melania Trump's team of filing what's known as a SLAPP suit. They argued that the billion-dollar threat wasn't a real legal claim at all, but just a tactic to intimidate and silence critics, a direct attack on First Amendment rights.
Okay, so Wolff has sued in New York State Court. Now, pay close attention, because it's the very next move from Melania Trump's lawyers that turns out to be their single biggest mistake.
So, her team decides they don't want to fight in state court. They file to move the whole case to federal court. Now, on the surface, you might think, hey, that's a smart move. They even got a Trump-appointed judge assigned to the case. It looked like everything was going their way.
But here's the thing. You can't just decide to move a case to federal court. You need a specific legal reason. And the one they used is called diversity jurisdiction. The rule here is incredibly simple, but absolutely critical. The two people in the lawsuit must be legal residents of different states.
And here it is. This is the whole trap. Michael Wolff is a resident of New York. That's a fact. So for Melania's team to get their case into federal court, they had to legally declare on the record that she is not a resident of New York. They claim she's a resident of Florida, and in that moment, the trap was sprung. See, by making that claim, her lawyers opened a door they can't shut, because now Wolff's lawyers have the absolute right to challenge her residency claim, and for the judge to figure out who's right, the court has to allow something called jurisdictional discovery, which is basically a formal legal investigation into one simple question: where does Melania Trump really live?
And this is where the consequences of that one single decision become absolutely devastating. Because jurisdictional discovery isn't just about looking at a driver's license. No, it's a deeply invasive legal process.
Just think about this. She now has to answer these questions under oath, where lying is a crime. These aren't political questions. They are intensely personal questions about her finances, her taxes, her day-to-day life, and even her marriage. Her own legal strategy has given the opposing lawyers the right to demand answers to all of it.
And Wolff's team isn't just taking a wild guess here. There's a solid reason to ask these questions. For years, it's been widely reported that Melania Trump spends most of her time in her Trump Tower penthouse in New York, especially since her son Barron started at NYU. This public information flies directly in the face of her legal claim to be a Florida resident.
And what makes this whole situation so wild is that she's going through all of this for a defamation case that seems, well, pretty weak to begin with. According to Wolff's legal filings, his team argues the statements she's complaining about are either true, protected opinion, or were just taken completely out of context.
So when you step back and look at the trade-off, it is just staggering. Her legal team gained the possibility of a friendly judge, but in exchange, they gave up any guarantee of privacy and triggered a mandatory, invasive investigation into her personal life. It's a truly catastrophic miscalculation.
So, what's the bottom line here? First, This was a massive, unforced error by her legal team. Second, she's facing all this public scrutiny for a case that she is very likely to lose anyway. And third, and maybe this is the most important part, this is a masterclass in how to stand up to legal bullying. The Trump playbook only works if the other side gets scared and backs down.
And that leaves us with one final, crucial question. This case is about way more than just one lawsuit. It's a real test of accountability. Michael Wolff refused to be intimidated. And now, a legal system that's often used to silence people is being turned back on its creators. And we are all about to find out what the answers are.